what I wanted to firstly go over is obviously from reading your book about I Am Human and 30 Mistakes to Success. I wanted to just cover your sort of sense of purpose. So you talk about the iceberg analogy. Can you elaborate that for the listeners in terms of the three parts of the how, why, and the where?
Yeah, so what we have, or what I developed probably over the last 10 to 15 years, was this understanding of what makes human beings think, feel, act, and behave. And, I felt that many organizations and many trainers, many consultants, many people, when they read self-help books, they focus on the above the waterline behaviors, characteristics, and traits of human beings, and they want to explore why the way they act and the way they come across and what their personality style is. But that's only one layer of the iceberg for me. So with all human beings, we have sort of three layers. We have the above the waterline behaviors, which people see and observe. So you can only judge people based on what you see and observe in them, their behaviors, the way they conduct themselves. But we have two other layers. Now, what we found in performance psychology is when you strip people back, there's something driving and regulating those behaviors in the form of unconscious motivators. So between the ages of 1 to 21 years old, roughly, when our brain is developing, we start to form one or two key motivators called unconscious motivators, which drive and regulate our behavior. They are the things, it's the way we see the world. It's what we have to have fulfilled on a daily basis. But coming to your point, there is a third layer of the iceberg, which is if the motivations that manifest within us drive our behavior, where do those motivations come from? And that's our sense of purpose. So in those formative years, we find in the work that we do, Dave, that there are three main environments where those motivations can come from. Your parents, the way your parents parented you, your early social exposure, so the estate you grew up in, or the village, or the friends you knocked around with, and your educational exposure, your educational years. So parental, social, and educational. And what we find is the key events that happen in your formative years in those three areas are called anchors in psychology. It starts to form your motivations and the way you see the world, which then forms your personality and your behavior. So yeah, my sense of purpose, if you think about that analogy, I can track back to my sense of purpose being at maybe 11 years old. My parents separated. My dad moved out. My mum struggled with three kids. We moved from our home to a council estate. And it was the first time in our life where really we struggled, and I had to grow up fast and become strong and self-reliant and fend for myself and chip in around the house and all the rest of it. And I think that was the early forms of my sense of purpose to really do well in life and succeed and achieve. So, I fast forward to now, I'm 38 years old and I've got three kids and a wife, and I never want them to struggle or to be in that position. So whenever I'm having a bit of a wobble, or whenever I'm struggling, or whenever I, have a challenge, I always think back to my sense of purpose, which is being 11 years old, not having much, struggling and watching my mother struggle. And it instantly brings me back in the room. That's the reason why I'm willing to offer the significant contribution required to be successful,